This month, protesters in several cities across Asia joined the rest of the world in their support for the BLM, the Black Lives Matter movement. The inspiration came from America in the wake of the George Floyd killing. But many people across East Asia want to put their own region's experience under the spotlight, as Nick Marsh now reports.
In Tokyo, they marched. In Hong Kong, they gathered. In Bangkok, they zoomed. The numbers were smaller, but the message of solidarity was still clear. For these people, Black lives matter in Asia too. In mainland China, state media condemned the killing of George Floyd. So too did government officials.
Racism against ethnic minorities is a chronic disease of American society.
But in this society, Muslim minorities are detained in so-called re-education camps. Foreign critics told to mind their own business. And when it comes to attitudes on race, few would argue that China is progressive. Blackface on primetime television, just one example. In April, signs went up around the city of Guangzhou, forbidding black people from entering shops and restaurants, apparently to stop the spread of COVID-19.
See what the Chinese police are doing to us.
These videos also emerged, showing African residents appearing to be evicted from their homes. Redic has lived in China for 7 years. He says he feels safe working as an African-American artist in Shanghai. But even in the city's modern and progressive art scene, he's faced problems when potential clients find out he's black.
And then I may get, oh, I'm sorry, when I send the photos over, we were only looking for a Chinese person or a white artist or something like that. So this issue of color and race is definitely something that is global and that is something that is systemic.
Here in multi-ethnic Singapore, a debate on Chinese privilege has re-emerged.
Yeah, I speak Chinese.
Preeti Naya is better known by her alter ego Preeti Please, and she's made a name for herself calling out the racism that she sees against Indian and Malay minorities, who make up almost a quarter of the city's population.
I think the Black Lives Matter movement definitely shone a spotlight at Singapore, at the double standard in Singapore, and how we are very quick to talk about racism when it's anywhere else but here. But they're not ready to look inward and just look at how they have lived their lives for however many years and whether they've done anything to potentially offend anyone around them.
Keith Richburg has spent almost 2 decades reporting from Asia. To him, the region's real test of tolerance is seeing ethnic minorities in top positions.
You know, a lot of countries like to say that we don't discriminate and we're inclusive and et cetera, but when you get right down to the brass tacks, you know, you just ask yourself how many people who are not from the dominant ethnic group could actually rise to a certain level. I think that kind of conversation may start, but I think it's going to be a long way off yet.
Around the world, the Black Lives Matter movement has caused new dialogues about race and white privilege. But here in this part of the world, the biggest challenge might be simply to end the assumption that racism is something that happens somewhere else. Nick Marsh, BBC News, Singapore.